So today we wanted to begin with this wonderful quote from Tony Robbins. And he says, "The people who are the most alive, driven, and fulfilled are those that seek to lead a life of contribution and service to something greater than themselves." I saw this quote a couple weeks ago, and I thought, wow, that hits home. What a great quote. What do you think of that?
Well, it's about, people talk about, I don't know what my purpose is, and look at these celebrities and people who've done it all, and they spend thousands of hours making something happen in their lives, and then they don't invest in themselves to do the things they need to do that is unique to them. So to me, this speaks to the fact that, listen, if you're living a life that's unto others, that's what's going to make you feel more alive, because then you may have gone through the discomfort of whatever it is you want to express, but there is difficulty and discomfort in rising through that pressure cooker perhaps at times, or the challenges you might face at times. But being alive can be fun. Being fulfilled is great fun only after you've done it, right? But being alive means you bear the pain. It means you have the fun. Being alive simply doesn't mean you're jumping for joy all the time. That's what that means to me. If you live a life of purpose, meaning you're serving others.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned before celebrities and all these people, but this is for everybody.
Exactly.
And this idea of the people who are the most alive, driven, and fulfilled are those that really seek to lead a life where they're able to contribute and serve, because that is the essence of fulfillment. And how often have we felt in life, me, where we felt like, things are good, but something's missing.
Yep. Or
we had everything that we needed by outside external standards, but there wasn't, something wasn't quite right, and we couldn't put our finger on it. And we see that now. We talk to so many people now, friends, colleagues, clients, potential clients, who are also experiencing that same thing. Because if anything, last year, 2020, the pandemic, the lockdown, that massive disruption really woke people up to the fact that perhaps we haven't been living a life where we actually are alive. Perhaps there's been this extended period of being on autopilot, or this period of just trying to get by, doing the bare minimum, just avoiding pain.
Right, and then for those of you that lost loved ones, that's certainly it brings to mind, oh my God, life is worth living, right? You could certainly say that. Or this pandemic or this particular situation is what makes you feel, well, I'm thankful to be alive. But I think here what Tony is saying is it's beyond that, right? The part about fulfillment. There about 25 years ago, what occurred to me just now as you were saying that is, how do people, what are the moments in your life where you felt grateful and fulfilled? So this gentleman who was doing a program for us, made us go through this exercise of, when were you feeling most either fulfilled or alive, or that life was not just about you consuming and living the five senses life. And so the majority of the group of about 25 or 30 of us, it was clear that it was when we did something kind for others, or we did something out of, something out of maybe tithing that some people do. It's giving that gives you that pleasure. It gives you that joy, feeling beyond, life is not just about me. and to live my lifestyle, or to do this or to do that. Because even if it's about your family, it's still, this is beyond that, right? We all need to be first safe, secure, and do the things that are physiologically important, in the old hierarchy of needs. But the sense of fulfillment and feeling like you did something that was worth doing in life comes from giving, right?
Well, it comes from giving, because at that point, when you're actually able to think about giving, that means you're now realizing that you're part of a whole.
Yes.
And that's you brought up hierarchy of needs before. We can refer to Maslow's, for example, where once you are done satisfying your basic needs, there's a greater and greater need for this fulfillment. And the top of that pyramid is this idea of self-actualization, where you're able to fully express and contribute in a way that is unique to who you are to the world. And so that idea of self-actualizing is something that is inherent within all of us. And when we don't step into it,
Right.
when we don't allow ourselves to actually step in it because it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? Because once you've met your basic needs, there's another line you've got to cross over. And that's that line of, are you willing to give up your comfort zone?
Mm-hmm.
Because growth, that next level of growth, necessitates uncertainty. It necessitates discomfort. And it's not rocket science why the idea of legacy comes up after a few decades of someone's life. It's because it takes a few decades to get those basic needs, those foundational needs met. And so once you get to that point, then you start thinking about, well, how can I leave my stamp in this world? Like, how is the world a better place because I came along? And unfortunately, when you're at that point where the ideas could be explored, too many people, and we can only speak to it because we certainly have been there in the past. Too many people would actually just not want to touch that because, hey, it's unknown. Why upset the apple cart? Is that the right thing? My English is a second language. Why rock the boat?
Why rock the boat? Yeah.
What do we hear from people sometimes?
Well,
I'm good,
many
Raju.
people. Yeah, I mean, I can do this myself. I'm good, and why do I need to go further? Because it's uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. So it is. I mean, for me, one of the role models is my cousin. He and his wife have just completely proven that, once, even if you've achieved a little bit, because you're on a progression path, in the corporate world, for instance, in this case, they have always served their community. They've always gone beyond, whether it's Rotary clubs or other contributory sort of community situations and it's been going on. So it's part of it's endemic to their nature. It's not like, he became the president of this company and now he's out there doing it, and he and his wife. So to me, there's a recognition, right? So wherever that comes from, in his case, it came early in his life. And, I guess the couple is certainly a model couple for us. So it's just whatever happens, but it's better to have it early, than later in life.
And, that's a beautiful example because, I think, especially right now, some people are sort of at a loss as to, how they might be able to step into that. It seems to be that we have a lot of restrictions right now. Mm-hmm. Places are not as open, people are not as accessible. There's just a lot of restrictions, seemingly, that's being placed on us that might get in the way of someone, being able to really contribute on a full level that they're capable of. So, yeah, we've been hearing things, sometimes feedback like, what, Yeah, I'm good. I'm just riding this out.
That's right.
Riding out this period, this moment, this pandemic. I'm just things are not quite where I want them, but I just have to write it out.
That's right. And there's other examples. Some people, of course, have gotten a really positive lesson out of all the pandemic, where they realize that the frontline workers and others are just listen. They're a great example of giving and looking beyond. Right. That's their But some people that I've known have realized that hey, life is really about this greater than you, and there is the sense of connectedness and the unity consciousness that I think that lives high now in their lives, and hopefully continues and it sustains it. It's not just this period where they will have this.
That's the aliveness piece.
That's
right? The aliveness is about empowering yourself to be able to contribute. Because people, want to do that, but sometimes there's this little voice that is in all of us that if we don't check it, it can absolutely become louder than our higher voice. And that little voice often sounds like this. Well, you know what? I'm just me. Like, if I don't do it, no one's going to notice anyway. And
so why bother?
Yeah, why bother? And I'm just this, I'm just this. I'm just this one person, this nobody. I'm just this. And that little voice is so insidious, right? Because it can prevent you from showing up deeply in your relationships with those who matter most to you. It can prevent you from pursuing your ideas, that you want to put forth in the world. It can prevent you from getting in the best shape of your life to enjoy vibrancy and vitality, and just to be able to live, in a way that is in alignment with your ideal situation. So that's often, the reason when I saw this quote, I said, wow, alive. Because just because we're not dead doesn't mean we're actually living full, expanded lives. And this idea of being alive, and you touched on this earlier, means you feel it all. The ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, the depths. So we are designed to be able to feel all the emotions and to be able to navigate through them and bounce back and forth from all of them. That is the idea of being alive, is to feel the full range of human emotions that we're capable of feeling. And
listen, it's not that we understand it's not straightforward, right?
No.
We've been through this individually. I mean, I know there are times where I'm beating myself up as recently as a week ago, right? About something. And you realize you got to just feel that pain. It's okay. It's part of life. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel any of these emotions that you and you want to allow all of it in full force. The only thing is, what does it take for you to bounce back, right? So that's the practice of life. And so for those of you alive, I love that those alive part of it.
Yeah, what we're saying is the way to bounce back quicker is to recognize that there's someone waiting for you. There's someone waiting for you. There's someone waiting for your contribution, for your service, just like you are waiting for you to show up for yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. We think that how we live and what we do just impacts us. And you've heard of the butterfly effect. You know what the ripple effect is. What one person does greatly impacts everybody they touch, and everybody that they touch touches. That's how much significance you have. That's how much significance we all have. And choosing to be alive in this way, man, if you needed a motivation to get you out of your own way, think about the people who are counting on you. Often that's the thing that gets people just start to move and put one foot in front of the other, is that someone else might benefit from hearing what I have to say, or someone else might grow from this wisdom that I went through it, and then they don't have to go through it. It might shorten somebody else's learning curve. And all of us are capable of that. We all have that in us. And so I love this idea of, being truly alive and driven, it having to do with contributing and serving.
Yep. And I think the whole part of being the whole that we are, we don't realize even your thought that you have, positive, negative, doesn't matter, is impacting the world today, right? You don't even know it, but you just have to know that this butterfly or ripple effect is real. I mean, it shows up in, after donkey's years in climate change, for instance. I mean, we can sit there and debate that for whatever purpose, but that is just an example of what happens at a human level day to day. It's that or other forms of manifestations of, well, I didn't cause that because it was previous generations. It doesn't matter. You're always at cause. I think that's a whole other topic we've covered before.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
but the idea that you need to feel alive and feel that that you're part of a whole and your contribution makes a difference. So if you're sitting on the sideline waiting that, well, you and your family and all, that's what you have to focus on, and then that's your legacy, that's great, awesome. Frankly, what we're saying is be alive and start to think about self-actualization in the ways that, it's really, life is worth living if you're making a difference to somebody else. Well, on to another episode for another time. So thank you for listening in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.